going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the FPV Bible, where I teach you all the tips and tricks on how you can take your FPV content to the next level. In today's episode, I'm going to show you exactly what GoPro settings I use, and I also will take you step by step on my color grading process. So without further ado, let's jump in. Now, before we jump into the color grading process, it's super important that you nail your GoPro settings in camera first. In order to nail the GoPro settings in the first place, it is very important that you get yourself some ND filters. I personally like using the Polar Pro ND filter series for the GoPro Hero 9, which are absolutely phenomenal, and I've been using them since day one of my FPV journey. Utilizing ND filters will allow you to keep the shutter speed and frames per second in balance. This will enable you to create a natural motion blur in camera and will enable you to get super cinematic footage. Most of the time I like to shoot at 4K, 4:3, 30 frames per second, and my shutter speed will be at 160. This combination will allow you to get this natural motion blur that I was just referring to. With the ISO, you want to make sure that you're always between 100 and 400 max. The higher the ISO, the grainier your footage will be. With the white balance, you always want to make sure that you set that manually. Do not rely on auto. This means always make sure to keep that between 4500 and 5500 Kelvin, depending on the situation you find yourself in. Just ensure that you choose the right temperature for the right shot. And finally, make sure that you reduce the sharpness to low and set the color profile to flat. This will give you the most freedom later on in post to color grade your footage. And that's it. You have now set up your GoPro for success, so it's time to take you through the color grading process. So for the sake of this video, we're going to color grade two of my favorite clips. One was taken during sunset and the other one was taken on an overcast day. So let's jump in. Alright, so to color grade these videos, we're going to use Adobe Premiere Pro, and we're going to start with the sunset one, which is probably one of my favorite clips I've ever taken, just because the light was so freaking gorgeous. If you have a look at it right now, it just looks so beautiful, and it almost needs no color grade really. But that's obviously great because it makes it much easier for us to color grade, and this is because we use the right settings. So the first thing that I will do is I'm going to do lumetri colors, and I'm going to do an S-curve. So we're going to bring down the shadows a little bit because I always like to make it look quite contrasty, if that makes sense, because so the colors pop. And we're gonna go down here a little bit, increase the midtones a little bit, and also increase the highlights just a little bit so it looks a bit more gloomy. Maybe go a little bit more down on the shadows or the blacks. So as you can see, it's already much more contrasty. Then I'm going to the reds, which a lot of people don't even think about. Like they usually just use the white here, the white ball here, but I always go through all of them, which you'll see why. So I'm going to drag this up a little bit because obviously it's sunset, so I really want to bring out the yellows, the reds, the orange hues. So if I bring this even just slightly up, you can see already how dramatically the colors really change, which is amazing. So I actually really like this. I usually wouldn't go as extreme with the reds here, but because it's a sunset golden hour shot, it definitely makes sense to do that. We're going to do the same, I think, for the mids as well. Yeah, I think we can go up on all of them actually, which is quite nice. Yeah, I think that looks already pretty damn good. And what we did, that took us like literally 2 minutes, right? Which is great. With the greens, I'm gonna bring down the greens. I never really like green colors in my footage. I don't know, it's just a preference. So I'm gonna go down here, and then maybe a bit on the mids as well. Yeah, just tiny, like you don't want to do much. I'll bring the greens up on the highlights a little bit, and then with the blues, I think I'm gonna prioritize the yellows, just because it's a really like orange, red, yellow hues that are dominant in this shot here. So this is looking already pretty damn good, to be honest. And then, sorry, it's pre-saving. And then I'm gonna increase the contrast a little bit. I'm gonna bring down the blacks even further because I really want this to look very contrasty. The shadows can go down as well a little bit. A bit of exposure, bring that up. And then I'm going to the color wheels. Now like back in the days, I never really used it because I didn't know much about it, but this is such a powerful tool if you really want to manipulate the colors. And it's quite easy to use as well, because you can choose the colors from the shadows, you can use the colors from the midtones and the highlights, similar to the S-curve that we just used. It's just more specific, I'd say. So what I want to do here, I want to bring down the shadows even more, which is right here. Like I want to bring these colors a bit more down so it's even more contrasty. and maybe even add a bit more color of red. To be honest, I really want this to look. I really want this to pop, this shot here. And with the midtones, I'm not gonna change much. I'm just gonna bring this down a little bit and bring the highlights up a little bit. And then, very important, because as I said earlier, we reduced the sharpness in the camera to low. So we want to add some sharpness now. This is the moment you can add some sharpness. So let's add some. Let's go to 60, yeah, something like that. And yeah, maybe even the saturation. I usually don't even touch saturation that much, to be honest. So I usually just go maybe for like 115, or maybe actually in this case, let's just do 110 for a nice round number. And I think that's pretty much it already, to be honest. Let's watch this clip. What's it looking like? I know it's a bit laggy at the moment, unfortunately, because I'm screen recording this, but as you can see, the colors look pretty damn good. It's super like golden. And again, I wouldn't go as extreme usually on a clip, but because this is the perfect clip to really go ham on this, I'm pretty happy with the colors. Let's finish this clip to the end, but as you can see, like the sunset, everything, it just looks gorgeous. And I can assure you that if I wouldn't have chosen the right settings in camera, I wouldn't have been able to use to color grade this the way I was just color grading, because you could see it was first not really hard, and secondly I had a lot of control over the colors, which is very important in the color grading process. Let's do a sneaky before and after here real quick to really see the difference. That's before. Oh damn, it's crazy. And that's after. I mean, clearly you can see how much we have changed the colors. Let's choose a different scene here real quick. Let's choose this scene. That's before, and that's after. Crazy. And that's it. That's the sunset clip. Done. So let's jump into the overcast clip. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below, as it does help me to grow this YouTube channel. But for now, let's jump back in. All right, so this clip, this is also a great clip. I've taken this clip on a recent trip, and it was just the perfect conditions as well. It was overcast, so the light wasn't too crazy, it wasn't too gloomy. And this is the clip before in RAW. As you can see, it looks already quite nice, but again, we can make this look way more dramatic, especially this part here. We can definitely manipulate a little bit. So let's watch this clip for a sec in the before stage before we start manipulating and color grading it. But as you can see, it's pretty damn good already. So let's start from here actually. All right. So with this clip, I definitely want to increase the contrast, like I said with all the other clips I usually do. And I also want to change the color of the stone, because I don't really like the yellow. I want to reduce saturation here. I want to make it maybe a bit less colorful, just because I want to really get that dramatic look. And I'm going to show you exactly the right tool to do this. All right, so first things first, we start again, you guessed right, with the S-curve. So we're going to bring down the shadows, midtones go a bit up, and then highlights, I think I go up as well. Maybe go a bit further down on the shadows here, so make it very contrasty. And then what we're gonna do next, we're gonna go into the reds again. As you can see, there's a slight hue of green, and again, I absolutely hate green hues in my footage, so we're gonna get rid of it as well by increasing the reds in the shadows. It's getting already better. Midtones, same thing. We really want to make the reds pop a little bit, and also in the highlights. Then we do reduce the greens even further, like this. But with the greens, you always want to be very sensitive, because that thing is like super sensitive. Okay, I think that's already pretty good. With the blues, we're gonna increase the blues a little bit. Midtones, we bring the yellows a bit out, and then highlights the blues again. So this is looking already pretty good, to be honest. But again, we're gonna increase the contrast. Shadows go down a little bit. We want to get some exposure going on in this clip, and saturation can be like 105 max, because this is already quite saturated, as you can see. So now, as I mentioned earlier, I want to get rid of these oranges. I really don't like this. So if you're into Lightroom, you know it's quite easy to change specific colors, but with Premiere it's sometimes quite hard to do that. But there's a great tool that you can utilize, which is under curves as well. And if you look at here, you have the hues versus sat, hue versus hue, and hue versus luma. Hue versus sat basically allows you to increase or decrease the saturation of a specific color. Hue versus hue allows you to change a specific color, and hue versus luma allows you to increase or decrease the the exposure of a particular color. For the sake of the specific clip, we would like to change the color of orange or whatever that color is to a more subtle, less saturated look. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on this little pen thing. I'm gonna choose this color. I'm gonna add like another one here. And as you can see, I can change already some colors here. It's really drastically changing that. So, but we want to change this color. So sometimes it's just a bit trial of error to pick the right one. Okay, we got it. As you can see, like I can completely manipulate the colors. And this is again thanks to choosing the right settings, because if you wouldn't choose the right settings, you wouldn't be able to do that. So we want to go a bit into the oranges more, less yellows. And then also we want to decrease the saturation of this particular color. So we're going to go to hue versus sat, choose the pen, click that, and we want to click another one here, another one there, so we can really isolate that particular color. And we're going to decrease this. Look at this. This looks already so much better, because if it's too saturated, I don't really like that saturated look. Especially when you want to get that cinematic, dramatic look. You want to go easy on saturation. So we're gonna go like something like that. Maybe we go even with the color a bit more reddish. Yeah. Here, a bit more further down. Maybe even the yellows further down as well. Let's see. Yeah. Reds down as well. Right, how much? Yeah, there you go. I think I can go even more. Let's watch this real quick here. Yeah, I think I like this already. Like, as you can see, we completely manipulated the colors here. But yeah, I just wanted to go a bit more dramatic on this one. So I think we're gonna decrease shadows a little bit as well. Go more higher on the exposure. Contrast can go higher as well. And maybe I bring saturation down a little bit. Oh, actually, no. I'm gonna keep it around 108. And let's just look at back what it looked like before. So as you can see, it changed completely as well. So I think that's pretty good already like this. I just want to maybe get a little bit more of orange going on instead of the reds. Let me do this to green. Yeah, I think like this is okay. And then we go down like that. Yeah, okay, perfect. So let's watch this clip. As you can see, it looks already much better. Very like dramatic, because it is a very dramatic location. We darkened it a little bit, but the highlights still are popping. And let's just watch this for a little bit longer. But I really like this. I'm really happy with this. Maybe we can change the greens as well a little bit. So let's just stop here for a second. I'm gonna put some dots here and play around. Sometimes you just have to play around a little bit. As you can see, it's already changing the greens. I want the greens to pop a little bit more, so I'm gonna give them a bit more green color rather than the yellow that is present at the moment. So we're gonna decrease it like this. Maybe we even increase the saturation of the greens as well. So we can just like manually even just add some dots here as well. So because I know already what color to choose here. So we're gonna increase the saturation here a little bit. So we isolate that as well. There you go. Let's watch it. And I think that looks already much better with the greens as well, because I really wanted to pop them and then reduce the saturation of the oranges or reds of the rocks. And I think this is pretty much already it, to be honest. Let's watch this again. But I think I'm definitely happier with the look of it right now. We can maybe actually increase the saturation even, the contrast even more, and shadows even further down. Blacks can go down a little bit as well. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, look at the difference. I can remove the color grade like this, or with the color grade like that. So definitely a huge change. And this is pretty much it. This is exactly how I usually color grade my footage. Of course, these clips were perfect, and like perfect in terms of like the settings were set everything correctly, but this is how usually this is usually exactly how I color grade. It's not that hard. Of course, I've been doing this for a while now, so I know exactly what to look out for, and I also like a specific look with my videos. But as I said, if you get the settings right, you set up for success, and this is exactly how you can take your FPV content to the next level. And that's it, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you learned a thing or two about the color grading process or the GoPro settings to use. And if there's anything that you want to know in the future, or if there's any other video that you want me to do, you know what to do. Drop a comment, drop a like, or DM me on Instagram. But for now, stop thinking, start flying. Let's go.